first, like how you start with Long, and did you work before in a different company, very similar to what you do here, what's your journey?
Yeah, my journey is a very abnormal journey. So in our business, on the HVAC controls side of the business, we have graphics that an operator would use that shows like floor plans and fans that are spinning when the fan's on. Well, back when I was in college, I ended up starting a business building graphics for one of our competitors in the market, one of the big national companies.
A Long competitor?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so one of the big national companies I got connected with, and long story short, I ended up starting a company the summer after my sophomore year in college. And I grew that to about 8 employees. We were doing work all over the country. And I subsequently sold that to my salesperson in 2007. I sold the company. And actually, that company still exists today, which is really cool. And then in 2003, I had started a software business where we integrated to buildings, pulled out real-time energy data, but put a kiosk in the foyer to show what's so green or sustainable about the building. And we grew that to about 40 employees doing work all over the country. And it was a very exciting, fun time. We sold to a private equity group.
That was 2003?
We ended up selling, we started in 2003. We sold to private equity in 2008, right when the market crashed.
Cool.
It was either the private equity or we had a venture capital group out of Boston. And I tell you, I got a whole bunch of stories on that one, but it was a deal gone bad. Stayed on for a year and a half. Ended up working for Siemens, who's one of our competitors now. But I went to their corporate office in Chicago, moved to Chicago for 4 years, traveled all over the country, went to their global headquarters in Switzerland a few times a year as their technology and services, remote services director. Ended up relocating out here. Became sales manager for Alaska, Washington, Oregon. General manager for Siemens.
Okay.
In Alaska, Washington, and Oregon. Then became general manager for Siemens, covering all of Washington. And then for a whole nother set of conversations, left there and came to Long 8 years ago now.
You're already 8 years with Long.
Yeah.
Did you start in what position with Long?
General manager.
General manager.
And basically same role, leading Washington, but now I have the VP title.
Like Long, for how long Long was already in Washington when you come in? Like there was at the beginning? Or?
Yeah, so there was a company called CCI, Controls Contractors, Inc., that had been here since 1960s that Long purchased in 2014. And so it became Long in 2014. I joined in 2017. So it was a known entity. Long was relatively new to the market, but the company itself and a lot of the people were long-timers here.
And how many people now you have here that you manage?
Yeah, so there's 55 employees here. We have an office here in Renton, one in Silverdale, small one in Silverdale. We do a lot of work for the military bases over there.
Oh, okay, got it.
And then we have a small office in Auburn that came along with our recent acquisition of Justice Systems. Nice. That focuses on security for corrections.
Yeah, that's what we talked last. Before this one. That's pretty cool.
It's exciting.
Yeah. And the one in Silverdale, their core business is military contracts.
Military, and then some of the buildings in that marketplace. So, in the peninsula area over there.
So after college, you basically jump right away in a leadership position because you start one company, So you was a business owner, and the second company you sold, that one still existing. Then you jump on the second business again. Because what make you to not to jump on the third business, but be part of Long?
So when we had our software business, the second one, we had in 2006, I think it was 2007, Siemens actually came and approached us to acquire us or talk about potential acquisition. And they floated a number that was about $5 million across the table. And my other business partners and I just scoffed at it. We were like, oh, we're worth way more than that because we're in the mega trend of software as a service and sustainability and energy and all this. And when things didn't end after we sold to a private equity in a very good way, and I walked away with very little money several years later, it was a realization that I really wanted to know and understand better how acquisitions work and what it would take to prepare another business for being acquired if I ever did another one again.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. My business partner, who was my CTO partner, he went and started another business himself. And I went the other path. I went to work for a big global company.
Yeah.
But I specifically, when I got to Siemens, I wanted to make sure I was involved in acquisitions, venture capital, and whatnot. So I helped drive a potential acquisition. I helped vet out some acquisitions. Helped involved in one of the venture capital investments that Siemens made. So it was great lessons learned on book value, multiple of earnings value, synergistic value. How do you put those together? And what it takes for a big company to actually acquire someone.
Yeah. That's awesome. So that's how you come to Long, right?
Yeah.
That's your basically journey to here. I'm assuming there was like much more than this one, but that's like overview.
Yeah.
So you come here, you're in a leadership position. Now, what make a general question? What make a leader good, in your perspective, based on your background, working through two companies, to Siemens, and then Long, all that knowledge you bring here, what you understand through that journey that you bring as a value to Long?
Man, that's a good question. What makes a leader and what makes a good leader? I tell you, my definition of that's evolved over the years. When I was young, it was all about you create a vision and let's go.
Yeah.
And then, there's a certain level of humbleness that comes along with that. Read Good to Great book, and you learn that's one of the key qualities is staying humble, and you learn about servant leadership, and you start to realize, yes, that needs to be part of your part of that. But then as I've gotten older and gone through more really leading with empathy, yet accountability, and balancing that out. And at some level, a leader needs to be able to set that vision, but they also need to balance it with bringing people along to that journey. How do you bring people along to that vision? How do you not just chart a course and say, we're going and drag everyone, but help bring them along? And so you eventually get to a point where you're not leading a business, you're just leading people. You're not doing activities in the business, which you are to a certain extent, but you're leading people. And it's really about managing with empathy and accountability and vision. But it's really a lot of psychology, a lot of, components around how do you bring people along? How do you get them on board? And that's an evolution that I think takes your whole career to really get good at.
So when I come here, right at the front, I was like taking my phone and start making notes.
Yeah.
I saw right away the vision and mission of the company. Then I saw the TV with birthday dates for the best employer and so on and so forth. Like, what you see is working, like kind of these tricks that you're taking and implementing. Like, let's go to the mechanics of like leadership. What you see is one of the best, or like a couple of them.
Yeah. I mean, I could tell you right now, I'm not perfect. There's no perfect leader. They're the same person that puts on pants one leg at a time as everybody else. They just are tasked with certain skills and certain things within the company that are different than others are. And really it comes down to helping set the culture.
Okay.
Right? How do you instill a culture, and what do you want that culture to be? Right? Jeff Bezos has a very different culture mindset than I would ever have. Right? Where he doesn't have PowerPoints and it's, work hard, work long, but, low base, but high reward on compensation of profit sharing or of giving out shares. And it's a little bit different, especially in our industry and who we are. A big part of what we had to do when I did it long here is trying to help implement a culture around our core values, which is customer, implement a very customer-obsessed approach, implement a culture around coworker. Let's celebrate the wins, celebrate our employees, celebrate the birthdays, celebrate the good things they've done with Employee of the Month and different things. Celebrate the company. The third is core values of the company. So you do those things with customers and coworkers. The company will be rewarded, but we also we're a for-profit company.
Yeah.
Right. And then community, being able to give back, which we weren't doing a good job of that until this last year. As a Washington office, Long as a whole was doing great things. We have a foundation. We have, we give out, or not a foundation, but a fund that we give out money to nonprofits that are nominated by employees. We do matching funds, different things, but locally we weren't involved with the community. And we had some people that wanted to step up this last year and do that. And it was led by the employees to give back. And then the last is safety, because we're in a construction market.
Yeah.
We're around electricity, we're around mechanical moving parts. So safety is number one. We want our employees to get home to their families at the end of the day. So building the culture now, that's an evolution, because culture doesn't build overnight. So you have to chip away and, take little nuggets and keep implementing them.
Yeah, so you mentioned the construction. We didn't introduce yourself, but we didn't talk what the main business of Long, what you guys do.
Yeah. So we are in the two main business lines here in Washington are heating and ventilation controls and physical security. So how I explained it is, think of your Nest thermostat at home. It controls your furnace and air conditioner. We do that Nest-ish, where it's controlling big equipment on big commercial buildings, on schools and hospitals and military bases and whatnot. And we also do security. So, when you swipe your badge to get into a building, video cameras, intrusion systems. And then we work integrated to other systems, lighting control and sound masking and, speaker systems, and how all those kind of come together.
What you see the trends right now? You mentioned about sound masking, and I told you before I saw one of this kind of cool thing. I was impressed in an Amazon building where they kill the echo with the sound, and they put special frequency maybe they using something to even get deeper than killing the noise in people's heads.
They're listening.
Yeah, or maybe, there's like positive frequencies that make you more productive. And
I'm sure.
Yeah,
you're right.
So some of that. So that's what I saw, and I was impressed. But like, where you see the trends with all this technology, like in the security and
so residential leads the way. So when you look at your home, what has been the evolution of technologies in the home? It's all of a sudden, you got Google Home and you got Amazon Alexa and you've got all this ability to connect things. Like I can have my August door lock, right?
Yeah.
I can have that connected with my garage, and it's all separate systems, right? I can use a Casa lighting, whatever, and plug control. And I can turn lights on and off, and now I can do a voice control through Alexa or Google Home. All of that is taking different technologies from different systems and connecting to different platforms or various platforms, but it's all doing it through an IT method now, where before it was very difficult because it didn't have the IT connectivity. And now you connect things to the web, and there's a web service that connects to Google Home, and then it all just kind of works.
Yeah.
That's the way it's going to work more in the commercial. But because it's more sophisticated, larger systems, a lot of older systems that are 20 years old, it's more costly to swap out systems than it might be in a home. And then the business justification of changing out the systems. But as we look at new buildings, those systems that are going in have much more capability to connect at an IT level, from a technology level, to now interoperate, where when I walk in my office in the building and I swipe my badge, the building now knows Craig's walked into the building. His preferences are 72 degrees with the shades 75% open, the light level at 25%, and the sound level at, whatever.
Yeah.
And now when I walk in my room, my office, the occupancy says, oh, Craig's here.
Yeah.
Set all the settings.
Oh, wow.
And all of those are different systems.
Yeah.
That can now talk to each other.
I think that's the challenge part, to talk older system, newer system, and create all these algorithms that when Craig come, they work all together.
Exactly. It's a really difficult challenge, but that's where we're going. We're seeing a lot more cloud technology in this world, in the built environment of buildings, where 5 years ago, if you would have said, all the security cameras are going to be just cloud-based and my access control is cloud-based and a commercial property is going to pay a recurring revenue every month or every year, I would have said, you're crazy. We're not there yet. What about the connectivity with internet? What about, are they really going to put in something they have to pay every year, but they don't have servers on site? They're not going to do that.
Yeah.
And then 5 years later, that's the big chunk of our revenue is around cloud.
Yeah. So that's how you basically get bills, like checks every month. And that's how you're growing the company that we talked before.
Recurring revenue.
Recurring revenue that gives much more value to a company compared with like just one large job.
Yeah. It's value to us, but it's also value to the customer.
Yeah.
Because the user experience with that technology is much better. They have it on their phone. They can issue mobile credentials on an access control system. So instead of handing out cards, it can all be on your phone. And they can turn on and off cards, turn on and off that credential on your phone easier. Instead of issuing 10,000 physical cards, it's all through the phone.
And there's a way to save for them too.
Exactly.
Like, are business owners willing to implement all this technology, or were they like pushing back?
Some are, some aren't.
Yeah.
It's the adoption curve. So we're in the earlier stages, but it went pretty quick. Where we have some school districts that went all cloud cameras. It's got a PoE power over Ethernet to the camera, goes back to switch, connected to the cloud.
Oh.
And now you don't have a $30,000 server for handling all your video. It's all up in the cloud.
Yeah. And I'm assuming there's a lot of regulation in this industry where...
There are, yeah. Privacy rights and how you record and what you record. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Let's see. Sales, like, can you talk a little of sales? We didn't even talk about this one, like, before the video. We didn't talk about, like, sales and how you guys selling, how you marketing your company, and like, you're doing business to business. So what's the best approach? What you can recommend in this?
Yeah. You know, we're not a commodity business where you're just selling a part or a piece or a widget.
Mm-hmm.
So our business is really about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It's relationship driven. And people like to do business with people they like.
Okay.
So when you have a salesperson trying to build a relationship, you want to have someone who's likable first and foremost. And they're not going to be likable to everyone.
Yeah.
But in general, you want them to be likable. You want the ability for them to come in and not be selling. They're consultants.
Mm.
They're coming in trying to understand the customer's challenges, what their needs are, how do we help solve that with the solutions that we have. And when you build a relationship on that premise and not just trying to sling product and, and solutions, where you're actually trying to solve their needs and you're providing value. And on the backside, our operations team executes very well, that customer will keep coming back. And it makes the sales job much easier. Yeah. But a salesperson can go sell all day long, and if the operations team doesn't execute, or executes poorly, or doesn't communicate enough, or breaks promises and doesn't meet timelines, the salesperson's not getting the next sale. Or they might get one more, but you start doing that multiple times, it's over.
How you motivate the salespeople? Like, they have a profit share? What's the structure?
Yeah, commission-based. So most of them are base plus commission. Their commissions are based on executed gross margin. So if they estimate a job and they just throw in some stuff and say, oh, this will be a 35% margin job, but they didn't really pre-engineer it, if you will, correctly, and it executes at 20% margin, well, they're getting paid on 20. They're not getting paid on what they sold it at.
Yeah.
So we as the project progresses and the margin goes up or down, their commission goes up and down. Yeah. And then we have a 100% commission plan. So salespeople who are confident in their funnel and their customers and being able to achieve the right amount of sales that they want at minimum, they can get paid 100% commissions.
Oh.
And we pay very handsomely for that.
Yeah.
So they're very well rewarded.
So they don't have risk. Like how many hours they put on. They just go all in.
Yep.
I think that's pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah. Especially for the sales man, like if he very confident and he see a pattern and he can just repeat it, make more sense for
and
them.
Usually those are salesmen and women who are, they've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
They've built their book of business and they know there's consistency there.
Yeah.
Typical ones that would start out base plus commission.
Cool. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. And to close up this one, I want to ask you about the future of Lawn and your vision and your personal vision and future. Just short to
sure.
See, like what other things you do and you're involved in.
Well, Long is in a great position as a company that our vision is to become a very strong player in the market in Washington.
Okay.
We're still a smaller player, but to become a much more dominant player, but hold on to the customer obsessed experiences and the culture that we have today as a family culture, to be able to hold on to those things that we're doing great today, but at scale.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can lose that. And that's what some of our competitors have done, is they've grown so much, they've lost what made them great.
Okay.
And how do you not lose that? And that's the number one challenge, I think, as a leader is figuring out how to take advantage of the growth opportunities, but not lose what makes you great at the beginning. And
do you find it?
Business changes. Like the bigger you get, the different ways you have to look at it.
Nice.
To keep going. So we have a lot of growth opportunity. Long as a whole is in 7 states. We'll look at growing into potentially other states, but really going deeper in where we're at. Some of the business units, we're not in every business unit in every state, so potentially adding some of the other business units we're in. And it's a very bright future. It's employee-owned. It's one of those companies that it's been around for a long time. It's
How many years?
60 years now.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's long.
Yeah. So it's a company that has held on to being a family-first company so far.
Yeah, because I saw even on your board over there, like the assessment you did, and like was there more pumping words coming, and one of that was family. Yeah.
When we did our employee survey, the number one word that was mentioned the most was family.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
So, but we've got a great opportunity, but it's also a great responsibility of how to do that and grow responsibly, sustainably, profitably. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
So, we've acquired a company this year with Justice Systems. The potential of acquiring companies as part of the growth is a good strategy, especially with a financially secure company like we are. So it's exciting.
Yeah. And on your, on your side, you say doing some other projects too that you're working on?
Yeah. So I love getting involved in different things. Okay. I'm kind of a man of many hobbies.
All right. Yeah.
So
tell us a little bit about it.
So my, just historically, I had my pilot's license, my instrument rating. Yeah. I flew all over. I've gotten into fishing, coming out to Washington, or catching in some places. You go to Alaska, it's kind of been fun. I got into milling wood in 2019 and 2020 until I broke my back. So all these different things. Well, then my son got into sports cards.
Talk about this.
So I've started ripping and opening sports card packs with basketball, football. And we recorded. So we started a YouTube channel, Cyclone Craig.
Cyclone Craig. We'll add here and
exactly in
the description.
And we put my daughter she's big into makeup, so I've made a few videos with her.
Awesome.
And just adding some of our hobbies that we as a family and I've done historically, putting those on YouTube. Commercial real estate is also a passion of mine.
Yep.
I wish I would have gotten involved in it sooner. But I've gotten involved in the different investment strategies around apartment buildings at scale, and then locally investing in some rentals.
So the next best day is today. Right?
Exactly. Exactly. If you can't do it, if you wanted to get involved and you hadn't, then just make a plan and do it. And I put a plan in place starting. It took about 6 months, 8 months working with my financial planner, a realtor, a mortgage broker. putting a plan together of how we would do it.
Awesome.
And took about 6 months to get the plan in motion. I bought in October, and it's exciting.
Hard.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that's how we'll wrap it.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate it, Nick.